Welcome back to MVM. Today we have a Kickstarter preview. This one is for Fuzzy Mage Fight from Shadow Squirrel Games. Yes, you heard correctly. This is a 2 to 6 player party card game with a lot of fuzzy mages and a little bit of take that.
Absolutely. Each of the players is going to come to the table with one of the fuzzy mages. These guys are double-sided, meaning you also have an essence side. When you're on the essence side, you cannot win, so you have to be careful about keeping your guys available. Each of them have 2 different powers on them as well, 2 on the front side and 2 on the back side. We've seen 10 of these, and they all act in very, very different ways.
Yeah, the variability with these mages is where this game is built. The gameplay itself is extraordinarily accessible, and the playtime on this can range from 5 to 45 minutes, which is hilarious. This is meant to be a filler game, and it definitely is that. It's fast-paced, it's meant to be played, and if you finish in 5 minutes, you're just going to reset and play again.
You also have the option of playing with allies. Each of the players can also draft one of these allies or be given one of these. These are going to give you some kind of unique ability through the course of the game, and they're all varied as well.
Yeah, at the beginning of the game, everyone is going to start with 3 of these cards. Now, there's a number of different cards in the deck, but the main one that you're going to be wanting to look for is Magic. Magic is what this game revolves around. After all, we are mages. The simple win condition is as soon as you have 8 Magic in your hand during your turn, you win the game. Now, some of the mages have variable powers that might change that up, but that is the core goal in this game, is you're looking to collect Magic in your hand. Now, you're also going to be placing it out on the table, and as well as a number of different types of cards that we'll go into in a second. But on your turn, it's a very simple structure.
Yeah, so on your turn, you have 3 actions, and there's 3 possible actions that you can take. The very first one that you can do is simple. You simply can draw one of the cards from the top of the deck into your hand. And as David alluded to, there's a whole variety of different cards that you can use during the course of the game. Let's talk about the cards, because one of the second actions you can do instead of drawing is actually taking one of those cards and placing either face up or face down. The only cards that you can place face up are your minions. The minions are simply going to let you draw 1 extra card when they're face up at the start of your next turns.
Yeah, that's the core purpose of the minions. You're going to lay them face up, and as many minions as you have is another card you get to draw at the beginning of your turn, and it doesn't count as an action. So therefore, you're going to be able to get closer and closer to those 8 Magic. Some of the other cards that you can play face in your battlefield are, all of these are face down, are potions. You can play some of your Magic down there. Now you might think, why would you play Magic there? You want Magic in your hand. Well, Magic in your battlefield can be used as 3 Magic, not for the end game condition, but for attacks and defending, which we'll get to last. Some other things are potions, some magic spells, all sorts of things, some traps even, so that if someone attacks you, you can flip over a trap. Again, these are face down, and you can only have 6 of these in your battlefield at any given time.
And you can use those face down cards at any time during your turn. So if you play a potion face down, you don't have to use it on that turn. You can wait for a subsequent turn and then use it when it's benefits you more.
Yeah, the great thing about those cards is they don't use actions. So if you have 6 face down cards and they're all applicable to use on your turn, you can flip them all over and activate them.
Now there's a number of other actions that you can also take besides those 2. You can also attack, but there's a variety of different actions tied into your actual mage themselves. And these are going to vary depending upon the mage that you have and whether that mage is face up or face down. We'll talk about a couple of those in a moment. But the last thing you can do is actually attacking other players.
Yeah, when you attack a player, you're simply going to choose either the player's mage themselves or one of their minions, because you want to try to take those minions out if you can. When you declare an attack, you're going to add the Magic to that to basically power the attack. That Magic can come from your hand, 1 for each Magic, or you can flip over a Magic in your battlefield, and that's going to count as 3. So in this case, I have 1 in my battlefield, I flip that up, and I have 2 more. I have 5 Magic as an attack against Jeremy. Now it's up to him to defend.
Now you can defend using, again, cards in your hand or cards that are face down in your own battlefield by simply showing those from your hand or flipping those cards up. If you meet that Magic attack, you simply block it. However, if they do more damage than you can take, you're going to take your mage and you're going to turn them over to the essence side. And this is important. This side, when it is up, it does give you some unique abilities, but it changes the way that you can play the game. It reduces some of the actions you can take. It provides new actions that you can take. And also, it provides new abilities.
And most importantly, you can't win in essence form. So you're not dead, but you're in essence form. some of the abilities you can use in essence form are completely different than those in the normal mage form. In fact, you can't do any of those normal actions like drawing cards and whatnot except through your minions when you're in essence form. However, when you are in essence form, you're going to mostly do one thing first and foremost, and that's roll this die. You roll a die, on a 5 or a 6, you're going to be able to flip back over and come back as a fuzzy mage. On anything else, you're going to fail that, and you can start to use some of your essence abilities that Jeremy just alluded to. Finally, the last thing you can try to do when you're in essence form is to fuse with another furry mage that's also in essence form. This is kind of a cool, unique aspect of the game. This plays up to 6 players, so if 2 of us are in essence form, I can say to Jeremy, hey, do you want to fuse? Why would he want to do that? Because when 2 players are fused, they're going to flip back over into fuzzy form and have all of the same abilities and access to all of that they did, plus they're going to have 4 actions a turn instead of 3.
Now, when you are fused with another player, however, again, you cannot win the game. So there's going to be a point in the game where David and I may be fused together. We get those extra abilities. But in order for me to win, I have to attack him first to break free from that fuse. So there's some dynamics in there as well.
Yeah, this is interesting. When you're fused, you are bound together. The only way to break that is to fight one another. If someone else fights one of you and knocks you out, you're both knocked out. Anything that happens to you is going to basically happen to the person you are fused with.
One of the other components we failed to mention is the good old garble. Now, the start player is going to start with garble, and he's kind of a jerk. What he's going to do, at the end of your turn, you have to roll the die. And if you roll a 5 or a 6, he's going to pass to the next player. However, if you roll anything less than that, he's going to steal one of your cards randomly out of your hand.
Yeah, the garble is hungry for cards for sure, and if you don't roll that 5 or a 6, he's not only going to take one of your random cards, but he's also going to stay with you. So you really need to try to get rid of him. The cool thing is some of the other cards in the game will allow you to move him on. Things like potions, spells, and some of the traps in the game that you have to have in your battlefield will do some of those things as well. Now, the most important thing, we touched on this earlier, but we really can't go without talking about it more, are the fuzzy mages. Now, we're a couple of middle-aged guys, but we still love this thing. The artwork on these things are excellent,
Absolutely.
and the abilities really make these things. I'll tell you about mine. This guy's called Seth, and one of his abilities is called 7. And as you might imagine, 7 means he only needs 7 magic in his hand instead of 8 to win the game. And another one, and I've actually used this one to win the game, is Zippy. You can take 2 turns in a row. Now, if you do this, you have to skip 2 turns in a row too. But if you have a handful of magic and you want to say, well, you know what, I'm just going to draw 6 cards 2 turns in a row, see if I can win, you can do that and win the game.
I have Philo, and he's a goat, and he's pretty cool. He can play potions out in front of him for free. They don't cost actions, which is great. The other thing is he can, after using all 3 of his actions, he can actually just decide on his own that he wants to switch to his essence form. So he just switched over to the other side. The unique thing about him is he can force a fuse on players. So if another player is in essence form, there's no agreement. He just says, you and I are fused together. And when he's in essence form, he can start drawing potions directly from the discard pile, which is unique. So once he comes back over, he can just lay a bunch of potions down in front of him.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those games where you're going to look at all of these mages. And like we said, we have 8 of them here. The abilities and powers on these things really make a lot of flavor in the game, and it makes you want to play again and try a new mage for sure.
So that is Fuzzy Mage Fight. It is a 2 to 6 player game. If you guys have any questions, make them in the comments below. Subscribe to us, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and we will catch you guys next time.
Bye-bye.